Hello everybody and welcome back to another blind come through of Overlord. Episode 6 as per usual. There's the outro time. Episode 6, the title is Journey. Now that is certainly something rather promising. Actually, I've been kind of interested in seeing Ainz go on adventures more and seeing him be actually in this adventurer's guild and seeing how that actually pans out. That's gonna be really interesting to see. Because I believe it will be real. It will be shown in this episode. It's going to be really quite interesting. Hopefully, at the very least. Hopefully, we'll get to see him use magic. That's unlikely, since he is now in his armor. But you know, let's just get on with the show.
この鎧をまとったままではほとんど魔法が使えない。さて、前衛としてどれだけ通じるか。
That's exactly what I am actually going to be really curious. It's going to be really interesting to see how exactly powerful of a melee fighter Ainz will be, even though he's restricted by the use of he cannot use magic at the very least in that form. So it's going to be really interesting to see how well he will fare in melee combat.
いざという時は。
確かこの辺りは森の剣王のテリトリーなんですよね。
森の剣王ですか。
数百年の時を生きている強大な魔。
Now, this is pretty obviously setting up. I hope this won't be a Chekhov's gun situation and they will just set up without actually encountering this magical creature. It's going to be really interesting to see if they will go up against it to see how exactly powerful it will be.
中で蛇の尻尾を持つ白銀の四足獣と伝えられている。
それは抱き枕ですか。
自作よ。他にも将来生まれてくるであろう私たちの赤ん坊。
She has a god. She made herself a goddamn body pillow. That's impressive to say the least. That is really desperate. Well, at least she can contain herself.
このために靴下や服を編んでいるの。もう5歳までの分は作ったわ。
動いたな。
どこだ。
あれだよ、あれ。
That is actually... He wasn't kidding about his perceptive abilities. That's actually rather surprising that he actually is quite perceptive. That's mildly impressive, actually.
こりゃ戦闘は避けられないな。
フィーレアさんはそのまま馬車に体を伏せて隠れていてください。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
モモンさん、分担はどうしましょう。
皆さんはウフィーレアさんを守っていただけますか。奴らをたやすくほふるところを見ていただきます。
了解しました。
This is going to be really interesting to see. Now things are actually getting underway. Now we get to see Ainz in action in melee form. This is going to be really hype.
とはいえ、できる限りの戦闘支援はさせてもらいますよ。
このまま戦闘を開始すると森に逃げられる。
コアインプラント。
They are just calmly, yep, let's handle this. That's really ballsy.
「ミスリルどころかオリハルコン」いや、まさかアダマンタイト。
どうした？かかってこないのか。
So it's pretty apparent. Ainz is really capable in melee combat as well. That's really reassuring. it's pretty amusing to see him just curb stomp these enemies as well.
さて残りは
こっちも来るぞ。漆黒の剣というのは昔いらっしゃった13英雄の一人が持つ剣にちなんでるんです。
Oh, we get the lore exposition dump as well. This is actually pretty good. We're getting more lore. That's always very interesting.
説明終わり。もしかして知らないと恥ずかしいようなことなのか。
何ですかそれ。
見事だ。
なあべちゃんは知らないか。
漆黒の剣は13英雄の中で黒騎士と呼ばれる英雄が持つ4本の剣のことです。
ま、そう。
I wonder if we will eventually meet these 13 heroes and whether they will eventually be an opposition to Ainz. It would be really interesting to see a high-level battle. That would be really quite intriguing and very exciting to see as well. So I certainly hope that that will be the case eventually.
こいつを発見するのが俺たちの第一の目標ってわけさ。
本物が手に入るまでの間はこれが私。
悪いことを言ったみたいですね。
何かあったのであろうな。
It is a pretty dark reminder that all of Ainz's allies are actually gone, or at the very least, presumably all of them are gone, and no one of his guild members actually came to this world with him, and that's actually rather sad.
全滅ってところじゃないかな。仲間を戦闘で全員失った人はあんな雰囲気を見せるよ。
そいつは難しいよな。
発した言葉は元には戻らないのである。故にその言葉を塗り替えるだけの何かをかの御人に抱かせるしかないのである。
そうします。奪われる辛さは知っていたはずなのに、なんで考えが及ばなかったんだろう。姉さん。
We are actually getting some character development for the allies as this party of Dark Swords as well, which is pretty good to get, you know, a very well-rounded picture of things. So it's really good that they are also getting some character development.
それにしても今日のモモンさんの戦闘すごかったですね。
ええ、あそこまで強いとは思ってもいません。
そんなにモテるんですかね。
外見は別としてあの強さですからね。しかも鎧や剣を見た感じ裕福そうだし。
It's actually pretty amusing them just comparing his physical strength when in actuality his real strength lies elsewhere. It certainly is quite amusing of a fact. It makes for a pretty good contrast.
何かありました？
カルネ村である人が。
Oh, time for the villains to continue acting. I wonder what their eventual ultimate plan actually is, but it certainly will be very interesting to see what exactly they are doing and how exactly they are faring. This also makes for a very good contrast between the scenes to have changed the mood quite drastically. It's certainly, the contrast is quite refreshing, I must say.
なんでこんなことする？
大丈夫？
ああ、大丈夫だと思う。
じゃあ知ってること全部教えてくれる？
This woman surely is quite devilish. It's actually pretty refreshing to see an actual villain in the series instead of just, you know, just some random knights.
Create undead.
理ですか。
悠久の力を持つ性格破壊者とは厄介なものだ。
Okay then. Well, that certainly was really interesting. Even though this was still quite a build-up episode, it actually allowed for a demonstration of Ainz's power in melee combat, which was rather entertaining to see. Not quite as entertaining as seeing his magical proficiency come into play, but it certainly was still pretty amusing. More amusing than that was actually the reactions of the other party mates that they have. So yeah, it was an overall pretty good episode. Although it had a lot of still information dumped to it, which is certainly something that I hold more important in the situation, because we are still gaining more information about the situation, which is certainly something that holds higher regard for me, and it certainly is more important part of the whole situation. So yeah, it was like an overall quite a good episode, so I'm pretty satisfied. So yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. It's still a build-up episode, and it builds on the villains that are at least the presumed villains, and their motives and their goals and their modus operandi. So it certainly is good in that aspect, although that was just the last minute information dump there. So yeah, but it was still entertaining nonetheless. I actually will hopefully we will get to see the mysterious magical beast that that guy whose name I completely blanked on, that he was talking about, that magical beast. So it would be really interesting to see that and see him go up against Ainz. And eventually it will be interesting to see these villains go against Ainz as well. Hopefully we get to see that. So that's about all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the future. Have a great day and stay awesome. And move out. Thank you very much for watching.